Good evening. Thank you for joining me this evening for my State of the District remarks. Before I get into the remarks, let me just make a few introductory comments. I'd like to thank my staff for preparing tonight's State of the District remarks. I'd like to especially acknowledge Austin Bruckner, who handles my schedule, administrative assistant, Tona Henninger, my chief of staff, and Sarah Applebaum, who handles communications, for all their work tonight. But I also would like to acknowledge all of my staff for helping. I'd also like to thank Information Technology Department for helping us as well with the technology associated with tonight's State of the District. I'm in the Board of Supervisors chamber this evening, and with me this evening is Austin and one of the techs from Information Technology. So we are socially distancing and practicing all the appropriate protocols. I will be taking off my mask when I deliver the remarks. That way you can better understand me. I also would like to thank my staff, my former staff, my family, my friends and supporters, my cabinet, and others who have helped me achieve the things that I'll be talking about this evening in the State of the District. Because my success is our success. I can't do this without your support and your help, and I definitely value that and appreciate that. So now I will remove my mask so I can deliver these remarks. So thank you. Greetings. Thank you for joining me tonight for my 2020 State of the District. 2020 was one of the most memorable, challenging, and destabilizing years that I can recall during my tenure as an elected official. Homelessness, Census 2020, firestorms, devastating loss of life, exposure of inherent racism and systemic inequality. A presidential election that felt to many as if we would determine the difference between healing unthinkable political wounds or enduring a continued war within our nation. These issues in and of themselves are daunting for any one year. However, with the introduction of the COVID-19 pandemic, everything became a shared magnitude and wholly deep experience, which none of us escaped physically, economically, spiritually, or emotionally. Amid the chaos, however, was the opportunity to rebuild and revitalize what we may have taken for granted and to find new gratitude for enormous community spirit that was represented locally and beyond. I was recently sworn in for a 6th term on the Alameda County Board of Supervisors as the supervisor for District 4, and for that I'm sincerely grateful. And I was appointed vice president of the board by my colleagues. I remain deeply committed to serving the residents of my district and Alameda County. I'm honored to review 2020 with you now with the spirit of embracing transformation in mind. Let's begin with acknowledging what are arguably the top 3 issues that most affected Alameda County. Number 1, racism. Although painful and at times controversial, the events of 2020 have offered the opportunity for racial justice and community reparations to become a front and center goal in Alameda County. The time for comprehensive action to address and reform systemic racism within the county has come. And I have heard the call to shepherd this important issue from start to finish, loud and clear. I took 4 actions within my power as county supervisor. Following the murder of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, Alameda County joined in the movement of local governments to show their support in the fight against racism. At the request of then President Supervisor Richard Valle, I began a grassroots community-focused ad hoc process as the precursor to coordinate work on community and county racial justice action items, including police reform. As a result, I've met with over 100 individuals, from students to nonprofit, to community advocates, to peer leaders, to hear their concerns and develop a framework for ways we can re-envision law enforcement and better achieve racial justice. This also included community reparations, which specifically address legislative, social, and economic inequities faced by African Americans. This next step will take shape according to the action items identified by you and others throughout the county. In addition to co-sponsoring a resolution to support Black Lives Matter in July of 2020, Supervisor Carson and I reiterated the need for reconciliation around slavery and racial inequality in the form of an apology from the county for its past support of groups and organizations who benefited from slavery and its history. It was unanimously passed by the Board of Supervisors in October of last year. There are a few avenues more important to equality than the census, because it determines representation and distribution of our vital resources. As co-chair of the county's Complete Count Committee, I'm proud to have helped lead the county for a more robust Census 2020 engagement. I'm thrilled that our county push brought in a whopping 75.8% self-response rate in Alameda County. This was up nearly 6% from the 2010 census. Additionally, we had a record-breaking voter turnout, and I thank you all for turning out and voting. 81% of the registered voters cast their ballots and made their voices heard. Approximately 785 votes total, which is an incredible increase from approximately 562,000 in 2016. And this included many new and young voters. I want to take a moment to thank all the folks that helped get out the vote, especially the youth from Martin Luther King Freedom Center. I've worked with them for the past several years on my Joy and Justice initiative for voter registration and civic engagement. We work tirelessly to ensure an accurate census count and increase voter registration, especially among African Americans and other historically hard to reach individuals. These are 4 very important initiatives: the ad hoc process for police reform and racial justice, Census 2020, Joy and Justice for voter registration and civic engagement, and reparations. They will serve as the foundational drive for my priorities in 2021. Although the arc of the moral universe is long, I know it is bending now towards justice. It is my honor to be in a position to do this work, and I'm excited for the change it will bring to Alameda County. Once again, the ad hoc, the census, Joy and Justice, reparations. Now let me switch gears and talk a little bit about COVID, because you know we all experienced COVID-19. COVID-19 has proven to be a simultaneously exacerbating and driving force depending on the circumstances. the singularity of focus it demanded unified humanitarian efforts by healthcare and social service workers, community health organizations, and nonprofits. As a result, many social issues and problems received the undivided, unified, and collaborative attention of experts in the field, which led to some truly amazing results I will describe momentarily. COVID provided the opportunity for our communities and our underutilized spaces to become hubs of street medicine, education, and safe gathering when needed. I was especially proud as a member of the Joint Powers Authority for the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum that is located in my district to become a nationally recognized equity-focused site for testing, flu shots, census participation, and voter activity. Currently, it's serving as a mega hub, one of the first two in the state of California for mass vaccine delivery. The Alameda County Fairgrounds, also in my district, is serving as a vaccine megapod and a testing site. In response to the pandemic, I pushed for the state to remove regulations so that the fair had the freedom to develop innovative ways to adapt economically. I'm very pleased with the results. The Western Fair Association and the International Association of Fairs and Expositions awarded the Alameda County Fair with 8 international titles, including 4 first-place honors in a variety of categories for competitive exhibits, innovative events, and social media campaigns during the pandemic. Additionally, the fair was recognized for its role as a base camp for CAL FIRE during the SCU Lightning Complex fire in August of 2020. Kudos to the fair. The fair is so great. They do a marvelous job. Let me talk a little bit about homelessness now. Homelessness is a complex, layered problem that involves multiple jurisdictions, community and faith-based organizations, public and private healthcare agencies, and of course, mental health centers. There is no one answer that could fundamentally fix what is deeply broken in our streets. However, I believe strongly in a housing first model that utilizes every tool in our tool belt, including tiny homes, accessory dwelling units, and financial assistance to help build more affordable housing. 2020 and COVID has helped us think outside the box, and we are now housing more folks than some could have ever thought possible. I've taken on homelessness within my district by supporting the incredible work that the county's Office of Homeless Care and Coordination, our Community Development Agency, and the Housing and Community Development Department are doing in the face of COVID with new programs. These programs include Project Home Key and Safer Ground. My vote to enable the use of 3,400 hotel rooms across Alameda County, 2,500 of which are located in my district, has allowed for remarkable and visible success with more rooms to come. These projects are part of an over $22 million investment in District 4, with over $43 million being spent for hotels throughout the county. I also conducted community outreach by hosting a town hall meeting, inviting Oakland residents to give direct feedback about results, aiming to maintain a collaborative effort within neighborhoods. I was very pleased that the state of California extended financial contracts for housing of this kind through 2021, and I'll be sure to push for further extensions, if not permanent solutions locally. I helped empower and partner with Pastor Jake Metcalf of First Presbyterian Church of Hayward and Castro Valley. Together, we not only built tiny homes for local people experiencing homelessness, but have created opportunities to share best practices and educate others on how they can bring tiny homes to their area. This non-traditional approach to alleviating homelessness has garnered a lot of attention, most notably from HUD. It may serve as a model for how to house people quickly and humanely across the nation. Far too many people live in their cars, despite being employed, because they simply can't afford rent in the Bay Area. As a result, they face numerous challenges. I supported the Fairmont Safe Car Parking Project, which has tangibly helped individuals living in their cars in the unincorporated area of Alameda County by providing a safe place for them to park, rest, and access basic hygiene services. In March of 2019, the county began using this program, and since then, 2/3 of those served have found stable housing. The county is now also building 34 tiny homes on this site using Pastor Jake's model. And this site at the Fairmont campus is also in my district. I was a strong champion for the county's Measure A1 bond. One of the many goals of this housing bond is to create 3,800 affordable housing options for people who need it throughout Alameda County. As of December of 2020, there are 2,865 units available in Alameda County. Another important aspect of the housing bond is protecting current housing options by keeping rent affordable and filling in the gap usually occupied with low-income tax credits, which were threatened during the last presidential administration. Across the county, 9 housing projects that were in progress were saved with this gap funding and other funding sources. I want to thank the voters for supporting Measure A1 when it was passed in 2018. Last but certainly not least, the bond includes a down payment assistance program now called AC Boost. This helps lower financial barriers for qualifying households living or working in Alameda County. It also helps those who were displaced from Alameda County in the past 10 years so they can put down roots and begin to accumulate generational wealth. Now for some hope and gratitude. District 4 was exceptionally active when it came to addressing basic needs and stepping up during the pandemic. Nonprofit and faith-based organizations took the lead and partnered with one another at an astonishing rate. When it came to tackling medical and health inequity, La Familia, Tiburcio Vasquez Health Center in Hayward and Ashland, Eden United Church of Christ, serving Cherryland, and Roots Community Health Center in East Oakland, to name but a few, were instrumental in advocating for their communities early and often by making accessible paths for those who had limited options. When it came to nutritional and food inequity, Arisola House of Oakland, Alameda County Food Bank, Occur Pop-Ups, All In, Dig Deep Farms with DSAL, the Deputy Sheriff's Activities League, and the United Seniors of Oakland and Alameda County organized quickly. They consistently presented themselves as trusted, reliable resources for food, Census 2020 information, and general advocacy. Amazingly, but perhaps unsurprisingly, District 4 garnered 3 2020 Nonprofit of the Year awards given by the state. I want to congratulate Hively in Pleasanton, Roots in East Oakland, and Eaton United Church of Christ in Cherryland. Bravo. The work of these fundamental community and faith-based organizations continues to this day. In fact, their work is more robust than ever and reaching more and more people. These acts of community action, service, and safeguarding each other continue to inspire me, and I hope they also inspire you. COVID was a major disruptor to our local economy right from the beginning. It's too soon to report on the exact financial effects, but shortages seem inevitable. In spite of this, I'm proud of 3 major actions I took to protect workers and vital community services and ensure access to quality healthcare for all. I met with numerous members of the Alameda health system, workforce, and labor representatives who were concerned for their health and well-being as the pandemic peaked. And by the way, I just want to mention that I'm pleased to hear that a tentative agreement has been reached with the bargaining units at Alameda Health System. So I'm very thankful, and I want to acknowledge Alameda Health Systems and their Board of Trustees and the CEO. The Board of Supervisors, we are investigating how we can be more responsible and provide oversight and partnership with them going forward. That's both the Board of Trustees, the CEO, and organized labor, so they can deliver the best care possible to the patients. In the beginning of the pandemic, the Oakland Coliseum workers came to me with concerns. From my seat on the Joint Powers Authority, I supported them to ensure that current employees retain their jobs and health benefits. This is an action that continues to play a major role in overall job security and protecting the local economy to date. I'm very pleased to always stand in solidarity with organized labor. I also had the foresight at the height of the pandemic to recognize the important role that community-based health and wellness organizations could play. I made the motion to ensure that county staff cut red tape to facilitate funding, contracts, and resources to ensure services and jobs were secure so community work continued seamlessly and community-based organizations were given the freedom to adapt with their county contracts as needed. The county cannot turn our backs on our community partners. And it was important for these partners to be assured that they would receive funding to continue their services despite the pandemic. I cannot thank them enough for their work, and I'm proud to partner with them. In the past year alone, my office financially supported 54 community-based organizations with a total of $1.25, that's $1.25 million, to support their critical work in our communities. Every dollar from my office budget was worth it in support of these community-based organizations. COVID has financially impacted far too many county residents and therefore affect their ability to afford basic necessities, including housing. Many folks lost their employment and had work hours reduced. Others had limitations due to caring responsibilities. or otherwise couldn't expose themselves to high-risk environments like seniors. In response, I supported supplemental rental assistance grants for tenants in the unincorporated area, totaling nearly $2 million to help people pay their rent and stay in their homes. Just yesterday, the Board of Supervisors renewed our commitment to provide an additional $24 million in grant funding to support rental relief. People also need assistance with groceries, rent, and other necessities. I was proud to support an income assistance program through the county's novel ARCH program, developed by our social services agency. To date, the ARCH program has distributed over $20 million to those in need, and I voted recently for an additional $500,000 to continue this vital program. Finally, for small businesses, I supported commercial rent relief through Alameda County's economic and civic development grants for small businesses in the Eaton area, including a commercial eviction moratorium, which covers all commercial tenants and properties in the unincorporated area. Protecting residents and local commerce is an important issue because the implications for employees, renters, and property owners are far-reaching and too important to be left to fate. We especially do not want to create a system in which renters and property owners are positioned against one another. I remain focused on preventing unintended consequences all around and hope that my 2020 proposal of a voucher system for renters and property owners alike can be made a reality. Let me thank everyone who worked to alleviate those hardships that were faced by one and all during the pandemic. I want to once again just shout out to the county staff, the essential workers, the emergency food providers, the healthcare workers, the community-based organizations, the faith-based organizations, the businesses who stepped forward, everyone who helped during this pandemic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I'd like to give an overview of the areas of my district. And I will start from east and work my way west. I will begin in Pleasanton and the Tri-Valley. My time with TV 30 host and former Assembly member Catherine Baker was particularly important in 2020. COVID created confusion and fear and made current, trustworthy news that much more valuable. The long-standing partnership I enjoyed with TV 30 made possible several interviews with county health leaders, including Dr. Nicholas Moss, our health officer, and our Healthcare Services Agency Director, Colleen Shawa. I am proud of this work and the dedication of these county leaders who always make time for interviews despite relentless schedules. Additionally, I provided $75,000 in funding for Innovation Tri-Valley's Vision 2040. This was a very special honor, as it will aid in planning through the pandemic and for the future of transportation, housing, land use, workforce development, and environmental projects in the Tri-Valley, all with an eye to including local youth in the process. I'm always pleased to support this kind of inclusive grassroots community betterment. Additionally, in Pleasanton, I was extremely proud to support Sunflower Hill. and the amazing work they do to support those with developmental disabilities. This is a very near and dear to my heart. I want to thank you, Sunflower Hill. I continue to host town hall community meetings in Pleasanton to hear from my constituents. At one of the community meetings, constituents spoke about the need to expand the Community Assessment and Transport Team, CAT, program countywide. Now, as a better way to address mental health crises. I brought together a panel of mental health experts to educate and answer questions. Properly trained law enforcement and mental health professionals are key to writing a new chapter in community mental health. I would like to acknowledge my sincere appreciation to the Pleasanton Mayor and City Council for their ongoing partnership. And I would also like to voice my support for the recent mental health urgent care pilot program with Access Community Health Center that the City Council has approved. This is going to be a great partnership in the Tri-Valley. Now, on to the West County urban unincorporated area of District 4. That's Ashland, Castro Valley, Cherryland, Fairmont Terrace, Fairview, and Hillcrest Knolls. Many already know, but for those who don't, unincorporated areas are unlike cities in that rather than a city council and a mayor, they rely on their local county supervisor for basic governance, safety, and public services. Land use and community space are always two priority topics in unincorporated District 4. I'm very pleased to report that the Castro Valley Marketplace opened for business in 2020, right in time to serve local quality goods. The once dilapidated mid-century department store that was a decades-long point of frustration and controversy for Castro Valley is now a thriving destination in the heart of Castro Valley's downtown business district. It includes an outdoor cafe, bakery, local restaurant stands, and commercial office space, all integrated into one state-of-the-art, beautiful, open, welcoming space that is perfect for gatherings. Come check it out. 2020 brought to light many new projects, but also brought opportunities for changing existing ones. The old Castro Valley Library was a building that sat vacant for a long time. I'm pushing hard to retain that property for the veterans, for services, and for housing. I'm very excited to soon see the doors open on the approximately $23 million Cherryland Community Center. Thanks in no small part to a long-standing and fruitful partnership with the Haywood Area Recreation and Park District, HARD, and with the many participants of my Eaton Area Livability Initiative, which I will go into more detail about that soon. There have been many challenges and obstacles to overcome to make the Cherryland Community Center, that dream, become a reality. I'm pleased to have HARD operate the Cherryland Community Center, which will not only provide a gathering space, but also will provide a location for key services, such as a pop-up library. This is a project the community has long waited for, many, many decades. They are excited about this, and I am equally as excited, and I can't wait, as they can't wait, for it to open up after this pandemic. Two of my community projects, the Eaton Area Livability Initiative and My Eaton Voice, continue to do impactful, equity-based, and grassroots community empowerment work. The Eden Area Livability Initiative was developed from the formulation of the livability principles based on the Awani principles, which identify regional and local beliefs to guide the development of an integrated approach for future planning, development, land use, and all aspects of service delivery. The Eden Area Livability Initiative, or ELI, also worked on education, infrastructure, fire, recreation, public health, public safety, and public works decisions within the Eaton area, which is all of the unincorporated urban county. ELI Phase 2 brought over 400 participants together to vote on community goals, which were then organized into 5 working groups focused on agriculture and environment, economic development, education, governance, and public safety. I'm pleased to announce that these working groups have completed their work and an evaluation was conducted by the Prevention Institute on the process. Major results of this hard work included the Cherryland Community Center, Ag Day, and the Ashland Cherryland Healthy Communities Collaborative. Learn more about ELI on my website. Now, ELI also provided the path for the creation of My Eden Voice, MEV, and I am so proud of MEV. MEV is a civic organization made up of passionate residents working to unite the communities of Ashland, Cherryland, Hayward Acres, and San Lorenzo with the main goal of advocating for more recreational facilities, green space, and local affordable housing in the Eden area. In 2020, MEV focused on expanding access to parks and open space and rental protections for the unincorporated communities. In 2021, the group will work on advancing the Eden Equitable Recovery Initiative, focusing on COVID recovery that centers the needs and voices of those who have been disproportionately impacted by this crisis in Ashland and Cherryland. They will also work to establish an equity task force to ensure that Alameda County meets its goals for an equitable recovery in the Eden area, specifically Ashland and Cherryland. I, once again, can not say enough about how proud I am of my Eden voice. Because the West County unincorporated area does not have a city council, we have municipal advisory councils, and they have been formed to act as leadership bodies to the county for the unincorporated area. I'm proud to report that through ELI, with the guidance from my office, and after a thorough community engagement process, this area now has established and staffed 3 municipal advisory councils. The newest one is in the Eden area, which includes Ashland, Cherryland, San Lorenzo, and Hayward Acres. The other 2 are Castro Valley and Fairview. MACs play an important role in ensuring resident voices are included in the decisions regarding land use, planning, public works, and general government. Check all 3 MACs out on Facebook. They're doing a marvelous job, and I want to commend the members who participate on the MACs. They put on a lot of time and service to the community. They are officials for the county representing their communities. Another key Eden area focused alliance that I co-chaired with Supervisor Wilma Chan is All In Alameda County, which has been active in its efforts to address issues of poverty throughout the pandemic. All In has provided technical assistance and capacity building support to community organizations and collaboratives throughout our district. Early in the pandemic, All In and Dig Deep Farms launched an emergency food distribution that not only provides fresh produce, but also prepared meals for local restaurants who have received $15,000 mini grants to prepare 1,000 healthy meals for individuals and families. All In also celebrated its 1-year anniversary of the clinically integrated food as medicine model at the Tiburcio Vasquez Health Center in Ashland. To date, 526 patients have each received a food prescription for 16 weeks of fresh produce for a total of 6,283 bags, which is approximately 100,528 servings via doorstep delivery from Dig Deep Farms. And Dig Deep Farms is a component of the Deputy Sheriff's Activities League, DSAL. REACH is another vital program I helped establish in Ashland through Eli. And it is aimed at supporting and empowering youth and their families. I'm so proud of the work they were able to continue to do despite the pandemic, specifically rising to the enormous challenge of providing in-person service in the face of a quarantined virtual world. I'm honored to contribute annually to REACH to support health, wellness, and enrichment of Ashland Cherryland youth and their families. This year, I gave $650,000, all of which was clearly put to good use. REACH safely operated in-person school-linked health programs for over 150 members since June. This included multiple camp sessions over the course of 2020, all providing the unique REACH brand of in-person enrichment experiences and academic support, including health and wellness. REACH served as the first Alameda County sponsored COVID testing site, launched a walk-up food distribution for Eaton Unincorporated area, kept the Food Days Wellness Center open, and deployed staff as disaster service workers within public health. Finally, here in the west of my district, I'm pleased to report on the highlights from East Oakland. Due to COVID, priorities were realigned in new and at times frightening ways. When the Oakland Zoo approached the Board of Supervisors for support in the face of closure, the community responded with amazing and touching action. Young Andy Soulard of Castro Valley began a Save the Zoo campaign with $5 from the Tooth Fairy. Did you hear me? $5 from the Tooth Fairy. And that $5 ended up growing to over $200,000. This inspired story reminds us of the power that one individual, in this case, a young individual, can wield when they believe in a cause. And I was honored to commend Andy at a Board of Supervisors meeting. Now, on to some very exciting grassroots work that began as a pilot program in East Oakland and has expanded into a statewide conference this April. And that is illegal dumping. In 2020, we took the lessons learned from my Alameda County illegal dumping pilot to develop a model, and it was a novel model entitled the 3 E's of addressing illegal dumping. These are education, eradication, and enforcement. And we expanded it into new neighborhoods. My sincere thanks goes out to Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Cahan, who was particularly instrumental in securing $750,000 in state funding for this pilot expansion in both counties of Alameda and Contra Costa. This funding went to vital pilot resources, including 2 full-time law enforcement positions to investigate illegal dumping cases and collaborate across county lines, because illegal dumping knows no boundaries. We appreciate that the Assembly member recognized the dire need to address this issue and support enforcement of consequences for those involved in illegal dumping. We finished planting 145 trees and removed over 300 tons, that is 600,000 pounds, along an industrial corridor in East Oakland. Through these efforts, we identified 6 effective strategies for addressing illegal dumping, which can be replicated and scaled. As we move into 2021, we are working with partners throughout the county, the region, the state to replicate these efforts. My illegal dumping pilot is a success story built on incredible collaboration. I want to take a moment to thank the many community partners without whom this effort would not have been possible. Ken Houston and the Beautification Council, AB&I Foundry, Aaron's Metal, Argent Materials, Men of Valor, the Alameda County Sheriff's Office, the Alameda County District Attorney's Office, and the Alameda County Departments of Public Health and Environmental Health. I also want to thank all of our partners in the city of Oakland and the many, many, many dedicated volunteers who helped with this endeavor. Check out more information about the conference and this important work by visiting my website. The 2020 Illegal Dumping Report is featured on my homepage. Now, not to be remiss, I'm also pleased to have Grizz Jones and Forever Oakland doing all the work that they do to address illegal dumping on a regular and ongoing basis throughout the city of Oakland and working to help our unsheltered residents. Thank you, Grizz. Thank you, Forever Oakland. It is a distinct pleasure to announce that the reopening of the Tyrone, Kearney, and Sobrani Mini Park came that much closer in 2020. This is the result of years of community organizing and dedication on behalf of my office, community partners, the city of Oakland, and many others who are committed to reclaiming this once fenced space in the name of environmental justice. Through my Violence Prevention Initiative, we brought the city and the county together with local community members to provide resources on neighborhood revitalization. These efforts resulted in over $2 million in state funding being granted as a result of the Alameda County Probation Department's work to revitalize these 2 shuttered and underutilized parks. This effort will break ground later this year, and we hope to complete the project by fall of 2022. Roots Community Health Center has also been a partner with us, and it's been a key partner in my violence prevention efforts in Sobrani Park. And Roots has received funding from the Alameda County Behavioral Health Department to do the work that they're doing in the Sobrani Park community. I'm glad to have been a supporter and a participant once again in the 2020 Black Joy Parade that highlights the accomplishments and culture of African Americans in Alameda County. I was pleased to stand with Governor Gavin Newsom and Oakland Mayor Libby Shaft to announce the state's contribution of trailers for our unsheltered community members on the former home base site in East Oakland. Eastmont Town Center continues to serve as an important role in Oakland as a community hub for services. And 2020 was no exception, and included COVID testing, vaccine distribution, food pop-ups, and other important public services. I want to also take this opportunity to shout out to the incredible Oakland faith-based leaders for their partnership in serving our most vulnerable residents, especially during the last 12 months. I want to especially acknowledge the work of the Bay Area Community Benefit Organization and also Alameda County Interfaith Council. And I saved my favorite highlight for last: seniors, aging adults, older adults. It's known that I pride myself on being a consistent and devoted champion for seniors and those who love them. And this year was no different. As COVID came to dictate more and more of our daily lives, seniors were among those affected most by increasing infection rates, isolation, and food resource scarcity. Many community organizations stepped up to help, including the United Seniors of Oakland and Alameda County, of which I'm honored to be their president. Facing the possibility of cancellation due to the quarantine, I gave a clear directive to my staff. We must make the Healthy Living Festival happen this year in particular. The result was the very successful first ever virtual Healthy Living Festival that reached seniors despite not being able to gather in person. We made it work, and we made it work well. Over 2,000 seniors participated from all over the county virtually. And we distributed over 1,500 care packages, which included important items like face masks, hand sanitizer, and shelf-stable food, along with useful information and materials. I want to thank the United Senior staff and all of our Healthy Living Festival partners for helping to make that event happen. This year, we'll be doing our 18th annual Healthy Living Festival on September the 30th. I was very proud to support the Great Plates program, which provided nutritious food to seniors from local restaurants and small businesses in the county. Additionally, my office delivered food baskets to the homes of over 150 seniors in my district. And I personally, during the Christmas holidays, delivered food to needy seniors as well. COVID has changed the way we interact and placed more importance on technology. I'm involved with Senior Fusion in the St. Mary's Center program, We Connect, to close the tech divide, which has only widened during the pandemic. I value working with them and supporting their efforts to reach seniors and usher in technological change for them, as well as keeping seniors connected to social services, healthcare providers, family, and friends. Finally, another important effort I'm involved in brings to light systemic problems with probate and conservatorship. I'm in the process of working with dedicated advocates, community and elected leaders to amplify the awareness about this problem on behalf of seniors who are taken advantage of through this process. If you have not yet watched the Guardian documentary, please do so, and/or watch I Care a Lot on Netflix that just came out. That will provide you with further knowledge on this very important topic. I will never stop working hard for and on behalf of seniors, and consider this important work part of my legacy as an elected official. As we come to the close of my 2020 State of the District, I want to share with you the new board, commissions, and committees I will serve on this year and my priorities for 2021. It is a special honor to be appointed the Vice President of the Board of Supervisors, as well as being newly appointed to the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, as well as I've been appointed to the Board of Supervisors Public Protection Committee. I'm pleased to continue my work for the county on the social services, all-in, unincorporated services, transportation and planning, and the procurement and contracting committees. I have always endeavored to stay connected to as many aspects of governing as possible, because each committee and board I sit on shapes the daily lives of my constituents. It is a privilege to continue working in my 20 leadership roles regarding air quality, environmental stewardship, local governance, transportation, bike, pedestrian, and traffic safety, and resource distribution and protection, both in our county and across our region. My priorities in 2021 will be redistricting, continuing my work on racial justice and police reform, bringing much needed community reparations to African Americans and other historically marginalized groups within Alameda County, and addressing longstanding inequity. Continuing to fight illegal dumping and rally more and more groups across our state to join this very important environmental justice, public health, and public safety cause. Meeting housing and homelessness in our county head on and supporting solutions that work. Continue to prevent adverse effects of COVID from becoming entrenched realities. Ensuring good governance and, as always, delivering service to the residents of District 4 and all of Alameda County. And of course, and always, advocating fiercely for seniors. I look forward to hard work, reaping meaningful rewards, and what will surely prove to be a dynamic and important term. Thank you for tuning in to the 2020 State of the District. I want to once again thank the county staff, all the county staff, my staff, all of the other county staff who work tirelessly to deliver services. I want to thank you for doing the things you do. I want to thank our community partners, our faith-based partners, our private sector partners, my cabinet and others for all the support and work you do. As I always say, my best ideas come from you, my constituents. I need your input to make sure my office is meeting your needs. Please don't hesitate to reach out to my office. Remember, although a vaccine is now available, continue to mask up. When it's your turn, get vaccinated, and always take care of yourself and each other. Thank you and good night.